Welcome back everybody, DestinysJesus here. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how to win a solo cash cup, exactly how NOAHREYLI did it. As you can see, he got 175 points and in the same match history. I've already done some videos in the past like this where I've actually gone through and reviewed with NOAHREYLI. We've also done some videos on the masterclass, which you guys definitely should check out. With NOAHREYLI, we're checking out some of his games from solo cash cups in the past, but this is actually how he's going to be winning. We're looking at some mid-game fighting tips, some off-spawn strategies that he's implementing, how he's rotating mid-game to actually avoid fights the majority of the time, and also what he's doing end-game and some strategies there you need to be implementing into your gameplay. As always, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to go check out the Solos Masterclass and also go subscribe if you're new. First things first is off spawn. Loads of people always DM me literally the entire time, like a DM like at least 6 times a day about where should I land in the solo cash cup. What I would recommend doing if you guys aren't familiar with a spot is just to go into a replay mode and find a spot that you like. And once you find that spot that you think you may do good at, or maybe you've seen another pro landing at, is to go ahead and land there non-stop in the arena. You need to make sure you've got a drop map, basically figure out exactly what points from all different directions go ahead and give you the perfect glide. All you can do this is just playing a lot of solo arena, marking out spots that give you a perfect glide. And as you can see here, NOAHREYLI gets a really good glide in, able to land straight on this AR, literally about half a meter above it, and then he gets a freak out of the sky. And in the majority of his games, he's not dying a spawn, just because of the fact that he loads the spot so well, and he's got perfect glides for it as well. In this fight, this opponent is actually reboxing several times, and you can see all 3 times NOAHREYLI uses a unique setup to actually get on the guy's wall, and also most importantly, is to not lose that advantage when you're W king. I know you guys have the situation a lot where people are reboxing, making space, that they'll just get some random counter peek on you. NOAHREYLI does it perfectly here. First of all, he blocks off this left-hand wall, then he places a stair from this sideways angle. Guy reboxes away backwards again. One thing is to not rush too much, make sure you just approach patiently. And again here, he takes that left hand wall so the guy doesn't have that right hand peak advantage. You can imagine he could swing around to the right, so Noah breaks that wall, then he sets up again on a cone, so he's got a little bit of elevation, swings on the wall once very patiently. Exact same thing here from the situation. The guy's reboxing so many times that NOAHREYLI is still playing really patiently, making sure he doesn't overcommit or go over eager and actually double swing on the guy's wall, which the guy could easily get a pump timing on. So here he's approaching from above, gets the timing where he gets the wall replaced, opens up cone sides, gets a big chunk, and now look at this angle he goes for. Jump, stand on a cone, right hand window edit, again swapping up the angles so the guy's kind of confused on where he's going to peek him from. There's a right hand cone edit so you can right hand peek him without taking any damage in return. And then finally here, as he does this nice wide edit, the one thing I'd recommend doing is not doing an arch edit, which is a lot of players do because it's kind of a bad habit from doing Mongol classics in the past, but just simply do a triangle edit and then jump. And the perfect thing of this is, as you can see, this guy literally can't see any part of NOAHREYLI, while NOAHREYLI has a full angle onto the guy's feet from below. So you can see here, there's a full angle to actually shoot the guy and not take any damage in return. So really OP peek that you guys need to start doing. This is a really underrated technique, just whenever you're below somebody and they're boxed up above you, is to basically go for the cone through their floor. So you can see right there, he gets the guy in the cone, but a lot of times you just get them bumped up above the cone, and then you can go for a wall replace with the centerpiece already taken. So right here, as soon as you get them in the cone, make sure you break them out and then go for the wall placement. So he gets the wall up, prevents the guy from getting a counter shot, misses a right hand peek on the top, but simply just waits for the guy to go for a play. Knows he's going to be quite desperate at this point, especially with how he's playing inside the box, always monitoring the other player's behavior. Then they're able to come out, catches him with a cone on the outside, and then full boxes him completely, gets all the pieces, and then hits a one pump. You can see Noah did the exact same fighting strategy in this next fight here. Does the cone in from below, edits it, and gets a bit of a chip damage. You could also full box your opponent at that point and then take an angel if you wanted to. And this is actually quite unique. A lot of players in the situation when they're above somebody is to approach from the top, maybe even go for the cone and floor replace, or approach from the wall, which is pretty much standard. What Noah actually does is really unique. So he drops the whole way down below the opponent, gets the cone in underneath, as you can see like that. Then he goes to the breakout, goes to the shot, misses his shot. But again, that's a really useful strategy that you can do to catch them off guard. Rather than approaching from above or on the wall directly, which is what they're going to be expecting, drop below, get that cone through the box, and then go for the breakout play. Now at this point, this fight is basically over. All you need to do is just be really patient. Make sure you don't get too over eager with your pickaxe swings and get caught off by a timing pump or a timing like run out play that other guys trying to do. You can see here, NOAHREYLI just waits really patiently. Guy runs out trying to make a play and he's able to get loads of good loot and then get pretty stacked for this end game coming up. One thing that's really underused in solos, even trios, is just making sure your AR pressuring constantly on somebody trying to heal up. You can see Noah just keeps spraying non-stop. The guy messed up his edits, actually gets some white tags and actually kills him. Most of the times you're not going to kill the opponent, especially if they're a decent player, but in these laggy servers it is really easy to do, especially if other players start spraying at the same time. So always make sure your AR spraying prevents somebody from healing as you get closer to them, and you can oftentimes catch them off guard. They're trying to finish their mini and then you get in a white tag like that, or you can just completely get the kill as Noah does in that case. This is a really common situation I'm sure that you guys have had happen to you during solo cash cups or during any type of solo tournament. It's whenever you're just going around farming and you're chilling during the mid game or even just rotating normally, that you get beamed from a completely unexpected angle. And NOAHREYLI shows perfectly what you should do in that situation here. So you can see he's got no heals in his inventory, gets tagged up, so he decides to dip away and then gets tagged up even more through that fence that you can't build through. So this is what you should do in that situation that most people mess up immediately. I've covered this in the box fight masterclass and some other content, but it's always to make sure that you've got a 2x1. This is really good because it allows you A, more space to get your heals off, B, easier room to actually maneuver around and actually go for counter peeks, and then C, just allows you a lot more time where you can wait, you can make sure that you're playing for a counter peek properly. This is one thing that I think you guys should take away from watching these pro level gameplay, especially NOAHREYLI here, is always trying to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes and any opportunity that you find in those mistakes. So you can see he has a good setup, he has really good weapons and also some decent heals. However, he's not really the best position in terms of build to actually do well this end game. And obviously most end games, especially in solo cash cups, you need to be pushing into that top 10 consistently to have a chance of placing decently. So how does NOAHREYLI convert this kind of not the best setup but decent guns into actually making sure he wins this game with a decent amount of kills? And it's just finding opportunity to go for a kill. So you can see he's in 50 zone, catches a player rotating into him, and immediately cracks him in one shot. Notice he's going to be quite shambles, and also look out the layout of this map is. The only way this guy can actually get third partied is from this behind angle. There's no one to the sides at all. So Noah has a very free 1v1 here with very low risk and very high reward, especially because he can get a lot of builds from this guy. So he jumps down, tries to go for the wall take. Now he goes ahead and exploits into the box and gets that kill super easily. Really simple things, just trying to capitalize on your opponent's slight mistakes and any opportunities that you find. Catch the guy low HP, jump straight into his box. Now he gets extremely stacked in terms of mats, way better heals, and he's in a really good position. He can just easily go back into his base and then chill. Okay, so this is the endgame I'm going to be looking at that you guys can learn from. Basically a load of really good height takes that you guys can learn a couple of different tips and tricks from, and also just a couple of different pointers for endgames that most people don't normally talk about when they look at them. So first of all, this is one thing I'd recommend doing, is never heal up on the backside of the zone when it's closing. Always make sure you use your mats to try to heal up later on. As you can see, he healed up when zone wasn't closing fully. It mirrors the rotate just by following all the off builds. Actually spots an opportunity to go up. But here, as soon as he gets tagged low, you can see it's not worth trying to stop and pop a mini in this box. It will get you killed the majority of the time, and he has good enough HP to keep moving forward. So he does that exactly, keeps moving forward, mirrors the rotate upwards. A lot of the time, especially, you can judge by how full HP the builds are. If it's wooden, it's full HP, it's about 5 seconds. If it's metal and it's full HP, that is 25 seconds. You know the person's going to be a lot further forward and done a massive pre-top. If you catch an opportunity to actually lurk up and catch a scarf height, gets a dink right there, keeps moving up and actually gets another dink to force the other player down. A lot of times height takes are just about getting damage on your opponent to the point where they don't want to build fight it. Even if you're 1 HP, if you damage them 100, they're just going to drop down and play their minis and play their life. So he gets that damage there, realizes he needs a refresh. This is when he begins to drop and trying to find a fight on these lower layers. He could obviously just keep tarping, but he doesn't have enough mats against the ender zone, especially as only front side to look for it. So instead he drops down to a lower layer, catches another free refresh on the guy backside. Now he keeps moving forward and he's actually going to play a mid-ground layer. Instead of going full send for height again when there could be another player contesting it that's not realised, he instead decides to play a low mid-ground layer, wait for zone to double back, so of course he does because it's not going to pull into the ocean, and now he can just simply chill and wait. And at this point, realizes he can still go for a height take here. Obviously, probably the better play in most cases would be to look downwards for a refresh. But if you can catch the height player off guard like he does here by crouching and sneaking up, you can easily get the height kill. So he gets the massive tag, gets the cone for the door edit, and then he's simply able to transition it into a bloom fight, which he wins really simply. So right here, Noah actually goes ahead and drops off height into an alt tarp. Whenever you drop into an alt tarp like in solos, you need to be really careful that you don't play too close to the player in front unless you're going to try to fight them, especially if you're just trying to recycle the builds for a second like Noah is doing here. So he looks at which HP the wood is, realizes the guy's the whole way at the front, which means he can safely just lurk back behind here for a second without getting too close to the player in front. Catches refresh, tanks Storm to go ahead and get it, and also blocks off his angles. And as soon as he gets that refresh, really important concept I want you guys to learn from, so a lot of top solo players do, is just go up a level. Instead of trying to stick to the same level and those going to be contested or dropping down into a layer they don't know, instead just look up briefly, realizes high ground's pretty free, catches one pump on that guy, realizes that guy in HP is building and overbuilding, which means he's quite panicked, probably low HP as well, so he takes a pump trade, wins it, tanks Storm again to get all the mats, and now he's safely in this high ground position. And how do you convert this high ground win? The one thing that you shouldn't do, which is what Noah immediately does, and it's a massive mistake, is to drop down and focus a player. There's 4 players left, that means 3 other players, and Noah immediately starts focusing the solo on low ground, not thinking at all about where all the other players are, which is back in Storm, potentially going for a shot on him. So he's focusing the one player that you can see instead of the two other players which are a bigger threat that you can't see. The guy catches him with a pump from behind, so Noah immediately does the correct thing, which is just build up. Important thing is to block off with these ramps here. The ramps completely stop the guy from going upwards, he can't really do anything, and don't run up these ramps. Instead do a side ramp angle where you can't get coned and can't get prevented from holding height, and that's also very meta efficient if you're trying to maintain height. Again, 2 players left at this point, and needs to drop down and figure out exactly where they are, which is directly below him. 1 player left since the other one died in Storm, and now he's in a very simple 1v1, which should be really easy to convert, especially if you've got as good mechanics as NOAHREYLI. First thing he does, jumps down, gets the floor edit, I don't even know what to call this, then he goes for the wall placement immediately. This is something that you can just build up through various piece control maps, so just getting that floor edit in immediately, and then the extra building piece where you can go for the cone to get the shot. Gets a chip tag in, goes above, realizes at this point, okay, I've got some decent damage on this guy, but I haven't cracked him, and he's going to keep aggressing me. I can't go for any heals, especially because the guy's just going to go for a pump at the same time, so you need to resolve into hitting a big pump and then converting to Scar. You can't heal in this situation, you can't run back in Storm because he's got the HP advantage, you just simply need to win the Angel as the guy comes around, which is what he does perfectly, for a nice little 10 kill win to win the Cash Cup. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to go check out the Solos Masterclass, some more content on there from NOAHREYLI, like his warm-up, and also some review that I did with him a while ago, which I hope you guys can learn from as well. Make sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you're new.